Hello, ladies and gentlemen out there in Radioland. This is those Muckrakers coming to you live once again through the power of the internet. I'm Pat.
I'm Rutherford B Hayes.
and he's Bobby. And this is
and
episode...
Oh, no, I'm actually Peter, but...
I thought Peter was actually going to go, just kidding, it's me, Peter.
He was waiting for the reveal. You'd be like in the middle of it. Not Peter! And this is episode 121. And in today's episode, recorded before a live studio audience, what are we doing, Pete?
We're going to talk about why the past was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about everybody's favorite comedian apparently is plotting a... Yeah.
Rutherford B Hayes.
I'm Rutherford B Hayes, and that's my time. You guys have been wonderful.
When you say everyone's favorite comedian, are you referring to the Puddin' Pop News, or?
Yeah, I'm talking about the father of Theo and Rudy. Apparently,
Rudy got to get the bellow to low pudding.
Not only is he free to rape again, but apparently he's plotting a comeback comedy tour.
I love it. Is he actually? I hadn't heard anything about what he was going to do after he got out of.
Opening for him will be Rudy Giuliani.
Right. Is it weird? I
hope he goes on tour with like Bill O'Reilly and Trump soon. So it's just like the Rapist World Tour.
I want to buy tickets just so I can go throw
black friend.
Just so I can go throw a brick.
My black. That's how he would put it. Yes.
I just want to buy tickets so I can throw a brick. Just wait till he's like, "Hello, everybody!" A brick, bam, brick in the head.
So
I have some late breaking news out of Houston from the Mean Cuts Barbershop, MEAN space KUTZ, Mean Cuts Barbershop.
Gotcha. I have a friend that's in Texas right now, maybe near that area. I don't know. Texas is big.
This is hot off the presses. 3 people have been shot at a barbershop in Houston over an argument about who won a foot race about a month ago. Apparently 2 gentlemen
among the 3 of them, or like a different race that they watched on TV.
So it wasn't the barber going, "I'm fucking tired of y'all talking about this foot race.
I won."
2 people were outside the barbershop and they were arguing over who won the foot race. And one of them just decided to drop it and walk away. He was shot twice in the shoulder.
Clearly, he wasn't the fastest.
2 people, yes, exactly. 2 people inside. Well, the argument was also over. I knew that wasn't a starter pistol.
You're not faster than a bullet, you motherfucker.
But the 2 other people were inside the barbershop and were innocent bystanders. According to police, quote, there were 2 males outside the barbershop arguing over who ran the race faster. So at that point, one of the victims started walking away from the argument. The suspect then shot him twice in the shoulder. 2 innocent bystanders were inside the barbershop at the time, were also struck in the shootout. One was shot in his rear end while the other was shot in the arm. So it's like Kennedy's magic bullet.
That's fucking amazing. And opposite, I'm on the shooter side. Don't you fucking argue with me, then walk away, you son of a bitch. We're gonna solve this shit. Fucking face me like a man.
It's one of my favorite moments from one of my all-time favorite movies. Is called My Fellow Americans. It's like the 2 guys from Grumpy Old Men, but they're former presidents, and they're on Air Force One. One's a Democrat, one's a Republican. They don't like each other, and they get in an argument. One goes, "Oh, you want to talk about popularity polls? I'll give you a popularity poll. There were 3 assassination attempts on you. I only had 1." He goes, 2. The woman in Phoenix doesn't count. She only had a starter pistol.
Man, I mean, barbershop arguments get heated, man. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, they do. They do. They do. Yeah, that's why I don't get my hair cut. It just yeah.
I was at a barbershop in Queens, and I watched 2 barbers go outside and proceed to beat the bejesus out of each other. I was like, damn.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen happen was at a gay bar in New Orleans. A friend of mine, he was like, I didn't even realize it was a gay bar until the dancers got up on the light boxes and started dancing, and he was like, well, I'm already drunk and my card's here, so I'll just go ahead and keep drinking. And he's like, I got to talking with the bartender and a couple other people, and they were like, no, it's cool that you're straight. We know, we don't mind that you've chosen that for yourself. And he's like, so it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm plastered. I walk outside because they didn't allow smoking inside. And he goes, I walked outside to have a cigarette, and then all of a sudden some dude jumped me and tried to mug me. And then like 4 of the largest men I have ever seen in my entire life goes run out of the bar and just start beating the shit out of my mugger. And he was like, I drink at gay bars all the time now.
Nice. Yep. I really like that story.
Oh yeah.
No,
but when I had somebody ask me, I don't know if anybody is curious, but yeah, my hair is rather long. I have to put it up for whenever I go to the bathroom where I can poop on it.
Wow, I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking long. It's I don't even know if I can get it all in frame if it's going to show.
I really have to keep track of it then. I guess because you keep it tied back, I've never noticed. And also, I guess
really
what you call it sort of cuts it off.
Yeah, I normally keep it up. I need to cut like 10 inches off of it because these ends are not split; they're divorced. Anyway,
I think that Wilder was the only one of us growing up that didn't have like past his shoulder hair. We all like had long hair. We looked much like a hippie commune.
I like to imagine
all my friends had like
it's just a shorter version of exactly what you look like today. Like your face has not aged from about the age of 11. You're just you looked like an adult the whole time.
Wild, I feel like Wild has always looked like a newscaster a little bit. Like he's always been clean shaven. He's had the exact same haircut and hairstyle. Like it looks like if you put him in a suit and put him in front of a news desk, he'd be like, tonight at 11, do you know what's in your food?
9/11.
What's the president doing in this casket? Find out tonight at 11.
Could your lettuce be killing you? Find out at 11.
We used to confuse the shit out of the cops because they'd pull us over and like 4 of us are like long-haired hippies. I looked like Jesus, and then we have like like Ted from like like Pix 11, and the cops are like, I don't even know what to do with this. And also, there's no drugs or guns, just a bunch of samurai swords in the car. Is this a fucking anime right now?
Yeah, they asked you if you had any weapons, and you're like, well, don't have guns, but I have like swords and shit. Do you have any knives? Probably. I don't know.
Well, one time the cop asked me like, are there any knives in this car? And I said, there are no drugs, but knives, that's between you and God. I have no idea. And he was like, well, are there any that are going to stick me? And I go, probably. Be careful.
Don't just like stick your hand under the seat willy-nilly.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know. So do we want to start out? Wilder, you have some
speaking of people that deserve to be shot and or mugged, so Pennsylvania's Supreme Court has decided to overturn Bill Cosby's sex assault conviction after finding an agreement with a previous prosecutor prevented him from being charged. Basically, this is what being rich gets you: a bunch of lawyers that can work around the clock to find any little loophole possible to get you out of any crime imaginable. And this is particularly damning because I've noticed that a lot of the other Me Too culprits are now starting to come out and say, see, Bill Cosby, he's innocent the whole time. The whole Me Too movement's a sham. And so, yeah, like this is rough because Bill Cosby was the first person
has entered the chat.
Yeah. Good Lord. But Bill Cosby was the first celebrity tried and convicted in the Me Too era. So his reversal could be rough because it'll make prosecutors wary of calling other accusers in similar cases in the future, because his case was kind of unusual,
right?
Because it's one of the first trials where they started to have like a character testimony and not just like or their testimony crossed the line into character attacks, right?
Harvey
and so they called in
Weinstein
several
has
witnesses.
entered the lobby.
Yeah. And so this is rough.
Well, he's also plotting a comedy comeback tour, which I'm very excited about.
That was something I hadn't actually heard about yet, because I hadn't followed anything after Cosby's release imminent, and I was like reading all the details of the case.
He's 100% always.
I have more details, but most of it's just like whatever stuff, dry, boring, factual.
He's always like 100% maintained his innocence. Like he's never ever even admitted that he did anything wrong.
he like said something. He did admit, I believe, to going to a place with the intent of giving women quaaludes, but he didn't say it was for anything like underhanded or something.
Right.
He said, I didn't do anything not consensual, but I did show up with the drugs and I wanted to slip into their Jello pudding.
That's a really great Cosby.
Oh, thank you.
Oh God, I hate that dude so much. Also, I feel a little vindicated. I'm gonna go ahead and just lay this out there.
I never liked Cosby.
I never liked him. I never thought he was funny. I couldn't understand why people liked Cosby. As a student of comedy and a comedian, I tried to go back and watch his old shit, and I'm like, this is all terrible. Why do people like this?
Fun fact, I stopped liking Carlos Mencia because I'd heard that he had stolen so many jokes from other people. And like that didn't affect me until I heard that he had stolen jokes from Bill Cosby. And I was like, oh, but Cosby's so nice. But now that that's not the case anymore, I've apparently got to like reevaluate how I feel about Mencia.
He still sucks. Don't. Your instincts were on the money on that one. If you want to see Mencia's jokes, go watch Joe Rogan stand up.
Who's pictured in a Spanish accent,
who's also a piece of shit. But I digress.
Do you like fish sticks? What are you, a gay fish?
I love the song at the end of that episode. They have a full length version of it on YouTube.
Come on, man! I just know the jokes, man.
I've been so lonely, girl. I've been so sad and down.
I will say this.
So in other news, the death toll from
of the barbershop shooting,
Champlain Tower South, has topped 90 confirmed bodies have been recovered.
Did they say that 118 are still missing?
71 people have been properly identified. 31 remain unaccounted for.
Right.
But they did find a pet cat survived.
Oh man, I'm telling you, cats don't fuck around. If you want to survive in a disaster, a war zone, whatever, fucking get you a cat and follow that motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's like rats on the Titanic. People followed the rats because the rats knew where the water was coming from.
Yeah. Like there was a cat. Oh my God, I'm trying to remember his name. It was Unsinkable Sam. This fucking cat survived like 4 like ships getting sunk, I think, in World War II.
You'd think the cat would like start to not trust boats after a while.
But either way, I would be like, I'm fucking staying where that cat goes.
Drafted into the Navy, so there's not really much.
Speaking of cats losing their footing, this is sort of has nothing to do with anything, but my dad just got a dog for the first time in like 10 years, right? Before the dog, he had a cat, and the cat wandered up. It's an outside cat. They don't let animals inside, but the dog showed up, and the cat like fled to the top of the doghouse, and it lives there now. Like it won't come down no matter what. They have to start feeding the cat up there because it doesn't like the dog. But the roof just fell off during the tropical storm that came through. So now the cat has nowhere to stay, and it's just like ran off to the dry creek. They can't find it anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it's a like happy hound dog puppy.
It's
very happy about that.
At what point with the Champlain Towers do they stop calling these people missing and start being like, we haven't found them, but
well, they're not referred to as missing; they're referred to as unaccounted for.
Oh, unaccounted for, yeah.
So and it would be different if this was like a low income building, because then it would be like some people may just not live there anymore or weren't there. They might have warrants and they don't want to like come back. But like this was all firmly middle class and middle class retirees.
I mean, I guess there's the the possibility you don't want to declare someone dead who just went to go see their sister in Phoenix.
Right.
Yeah. Or that sort of thing. But at this point it's like a legal distinction. I mean, I don't know. Whenever the Sampoon department store in South Korea collapsed, it was 3 weeks later they discovered the final survivor. So there's always hope. And that woman, the crazy thing, and I think I've said it on this podcast before, but like the crazy thing about especially modern building collapses are the number of people who drown. And that's from modern plumbing, but also from sprinkler systems. The sprinkler system that will definitely save your ass in a fire could wind up killing a bunch of people in a building collapse, or like
the other day, working in maintenance, anytime you find water where it shouldn't be, that's bad news. And when a building falls apart, water's going to be everywhere it shouldn't be.
I will say though, in defense of sprinklers, as someone who worked for the fire department, you are a lot more likely to have
I don't think you're going to
fire.
hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well,
you're a lot more likely to have
yeah.
a fire.
The biggest
than a
thing that no
building
one
fire.
wants to do that they're pushing in a lot of new building codes is to force you to have sprinklers, and they really are trying to push for residential sprinkler systems, because that would be like the biggest life-saving, like, because the sprinkler won't necessarily stop the fire, but it will slow it down enough so that the fire department can get there and save your ass.
And so, and also just so you can get out, you have a better chance of getting out alive
than
if the fire's just going crazy.
So fires aboard ships are a huge fucking deal, because whenever the sprinkler system goes off, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you're pumping water into parts of the ship where most of the ship should not have water in it. So one of the things that they've done, and especially on what's called ro-ro ferries, roll-on, roll-off ferries, they basically have this giant bay through the center, really close to the water line, where all these cars and trucks are parked. That should be closed off, but if water gets in there, it's got from the bow to the stern and starboard to port to slosh around. And one of the biggest problems with ro-ro ferries, which, by the way, you should never get on a ro-ro ferry. They are wildly unstable and incredibly dangerous.
I made a joke once on Twitter about like how dangerous ferries were, but then I looked it up and was like, oh my god, these are slow moving death machines.
Yeah, basically. We could do a whole episode on just ro-ro ferry disasters.
Just like when we were trying to pedal across that one alligator infested swamp and that one rickety boat, and Benefield was on it, and he just kept going, whoa, and we went, ah.
What were we pedaling?
Paddling. One of the innovations that's come about, because like if you put a whole bunch of cars on a boat, there's a high chance that something will catch on fire. Right. You have a lot of especially if some of those cars are Teslas. They catch on fire, and then whenever you put them out, they catch
Teslas,
back on
the
fire.
tenders of the sea.
No, but anyway, so they found that they were running tests, because they were like, we need a way to put fire out on a boat, but we also need a way to limit the amount of water that we are dumping into the boat in order to put the fire out. And so what they found was, and this might get implemented elsewhere, was that mist is just as good as putting fire out. Like, I was
funny enough in the back. In the back of my head, I was thinking about, what if they just like sprayed it with bubbles? That way it puts out the fire that floats away. But mist is a realistic version of that idea.
There's a ton of cool stuff they can use for fire suppression.
So instead of like the raindrop type sprinkler system that just bathes everything in water, mist is just as good. And so they have been employed on several ships, and they have found that it's even a fully involved truck fire. They're able to easily put it out with misters instead of sprinklers. So
chemical agents are also really, really great, where you don't want to put a lot of water. That's why they have those specific.
But it's also, think about a grease fire.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about residential, sprinkler systems, a grease fire, misters would not have the added trouble of, oh shit, now there's a bunch of small fires everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good reason. Grease fire is a good reason to always keep a box of sand in your kitchen.
Right.
Wow, we are really off the rails here. But
I was quite old before I understood why you shouldn't splash water on a grease fire. Like, I knew you shouldn't, but like the physics of why you shouldn't. It goes. It doesn't. It's not that the water burns; it's that the grease doesn't stop burning, and then you hit it and it goes everywhere.
Because it floats on
fire
top of water.
Everywhere.
On the fire department, they showed us a whole bunch of really great like blooper videos of like fire scenes gone wrong, and one of my favorites was it was like a refinery, and there was a huge gasoline fire, so they sprayed the agent on top of the gasoline that creates a blanket of foam that puts out the fire. But the problem is, if you break that blanket, the fire will erupt again. And one of the firemen, for some reason, was like wading through the river of gasoline, and he broke the blanket. And it was like he was just now surrounded in flames. And then like he freaked out. And then like the other firefighter tried to help him, and then they both fell down in the gasoline and the flames. And it was like, I was like, this is great. You really need some Benny Hill music to this, but I sure hope those guys aren't dead.
They were.
So do we want to talk about why the past was terrible?
Sure do. This week it's Peter's turn.
This week I'm taking over.
I didn't have anything. I just got off vacation, guys. I was trapped in the Atlanta airport for 6 hours.
I saw that. That seemed terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and I almost went off. So our flight was delayed because the bean counters upstairs at Delta HQ decided not to schedule a pilot for our flight. Just basically, oh, one will materialize, I'm sure. It's an airport, and
it's an airport. How
so
hard is it to find a pilot?
So I left my connecting my first flight because of course everything connects through Atlanta, and I left my first flight thinking that I only had 15 minutes before my connecting flight boards. Right. So I sprinted from, if you don't know the Atlanta International Airport, there's the T terminal, which is the first terminal in the building. Then there's A, B, C, D, and E, and then the international terminal, or Terminal F.
It's fucking huge, man.
I landed and we went to the southernmost gate of Terminal A, and my connecting flight was the northernmost gate of Terminal E. So I had 10 minutes to cover about 2 miles.
He's going the distance. He's catching a flight.
I outran the plane train, which is the people mover underground at the Atlanta International Airport. Anyway, so I got there and I, huffing and puffing. I was starving. I hadn't eaten since noon. It was now about 5 p.m. And I was like, I'll just power through it, get off the plane in Savannah and eat something at that airport because it'll only be like 7:30.
For those who don't know Georgia geography, Atlanta is 4 hours from Savannah. So
by car.
By car.
It's about a 27-minute flight.
Exactly. I've been in the same situation before. If your flight is going to be in any way fucked in Atlanta, if they tell you, you can just rent a fucking car and just go home.
Yeah. But anyway, so they told us we're just going to be waiting a little while, but that's not going to stop us from boarding. Well, it's going to delay us from boarding. We just have to make sure that we get a pilot. So eventually, about an hour after we were supposed to board, they let us board, and we all get in, we get situated, everyone's like, yay, and then they tell us about an hour later after boarding the plane.
I just realized getting a pilot both allowed and prevented boredom.
That's 2 hours now. Remember, Atlanta is only 4 hours from Savannah. You're now 2 hours in. So, you could be halfway home already.
About an hour.
Don't throw good time after bad.
But also, I hate driving. I was not going to rent a car and drive. I fucking hate driving so much.
Ditto.
But anyway,
I agree. So, I'd rather wait at that airport for 32 hours and drive 4.
It's funny. I feel the exact opposite. I hate flying so much. I'd rather drive for like 300 years.
Hang on.
Than fucking fly.
So they told us, well, I'd rather take a train, but there's no train between Atlanta and Savannah. Hopefully, Amtrak's saying there might be.
I was going to say,
thanks,
Sherman.
I'd rather call Peter to just come down from New York, pick me up, drive me to Savannah.
Thanks, William Tecumseh Sherman, for not having a train.
No,
right?
Thank you, William Tecumseh Sherman, for I-16. Anyway, so I really think the state needs to rename I-16 the William Tecumseh Sherman Memorial Parkway.
I would love that so much.
But anyway, so we get on the plane, and about an hour after we board the plane, they come overhead and say, "Hey, everybody, we found a pilot. They're flying in from Daytona, Florida, right now, and he'll be here soon. They just have to get him, all checked in whenever he gets here, which should take about 15 minutes after he lands, and we'll be good to go." 30 minutes later, attention, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we're going to have to deplane as one of our flight attendants has gone past her safety rated hours, which a lot of people started complaining about. And I'm sitting here going, no, the safety hours are a thing the unions fought tooth and nail for, so that flight attendants are not worked to death. And at any rate, the type of aircraft we were on, you have to.
Hold on, as a guy who's terrified of flying, I want my pilots and I want my flight attendants super well rested, because I'm already not happy about flying.
Exactly. So everybody got pissed off. We now had to deboard the plane, deplane. We had to deplane, which is just a weird term to begin with, deplaning.
It's a boat now. You're just going to sail.
So we all get off of the plane again. And then then the new flight attendant arrives. They wait a further half hour just to make sure that the pilot's going to be there, because they can't they can't deplane us again. There's like a passenger's bill of rights or something.
This is 3 hours now, right? Like I'm adding up the time.
We're approaching 4, and then we all get back on the plane, and the pilot takes another 30 minutes to show up. So yeah, I was in Atlanta. I was supposed to be in Atlanta for 25 minutes. I was in Atlanta for 5.5 hours.
Right. So you could have been home and then like fucking chilling on your couch with an hour to spare.
I could be dead on the side of the road from the result of my own fucking road rage about 30 minutes after leaving the airport is what I could have been. Plus, they charge you so much fucking money if you just leave a rental car somewhere if you're not making the round trip. So I wasn't about
if you abandon it on the side of the road as a murder scene, they really upcharge you.
If you're just traveling one way, they charge you. They charge you a return fee.
Yeah. But realistically, how long does it take to walk from Atlanta to Savannah?
I would probably take about a day and a half.
Yeah.
So 32 hours or so?
So
if the plane is delayed more than 32 hours, I could just take off and walk.
You could look. You can probably cover about if you're in any kind of shape, you can probably you probably do about 20 miles a day because it's all flat, just like along the road walking.
And if you're driving at 60 miles per hour, that'd be 6, 12, 18, 24, 240 miles between these two places.
It might take you a couple of days.
240 divided by 20.
I like how we're doing math on a podcast.
Divided by 20 equals 12 days.
I'm letting Google do math.
Nice.
Okay. So, my math says 12 days, but let's see what Google says.
Let's see here. Walking. 12 days, dude. Hang on. Give me a second.
If it's 240 miles.
Like I said, I'm going to assume you can do 20 miles a day. I don't know what Google thinks you can do.
Okay, if all you're doing is walking, you're not stopping, you're not sleeping, it will take you 3.25 days.
So let's say 6 days. You're going to double that because you're going to sleep.
According to Google, if you are walking Georgia Route 212 East, which is...
I need a big hat because I don't think there's like a lot of cover out there. I'm picturing it just like walking along the side of the interstate. Yeah,
like you're walking from the airport to Stockbridge and then down through Monticello, Milledgeville, Candlers. What is this? Sandersville? Never heard of it. Sandersville, and then you're walking through Swainsboro.
Oh, I dated a girl from Swainsboro.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
This was like middle school, so I don't know if you technically call it dating, but we were together for about 24 hours. She broke up with me the next day in Spanish class.
Nice.
Nice. All right, so no bueno.
Yeah.
So why was the past terrible?
Oh, the past was terrible. So if you notice today, there seems to be a lot of weird white supremacist system leftovers, like because white people love to be like, well, slavery ended and everything was great, and they don't know anything about the horrors of Reconstruction.
As I have said before, the North won the Civil War, and the last racist murdered Abraham Lincoln, so we murdered him back, and everything has been fine since.
Yeah. So the North won the war. I would argue that the South won Reconstruction.
I'm pretty sure that after Lincoln, our next president was Barack Obama. So like racism's dead. Don't know what you're talking about.
So basically, all these things that were supposed to happen after the Civil War were like Black people were supposed to be fully enfranchised citizens with citizenship, voting rights, and all that. They got it for like a super brief period. Once we got to Ulysses S. Grant, he actually fought a bunch of small scale battles against the Ku Klux Klan in the South while trying to trying to enforce voting enfranchisement for new citizens, right? Like the 13th, 14th, the 15th Amendment gives you your rights, and we're going to guarantee them. Well, at a certain point, the North got tired of occupying the South. And in the election of 1877, the election of Rutherford B Hayes, it was a deal. He won over Democrat Samuel J. Tilden. So it was one of those like kind of contested relationships. I guess that like Rutherford B Hayes, it was like super close. Like the votes were, I think, 4,301,000 to 4,036,000. So like it was like super close, and like it kind of went to Congress, and they're like, I don't know who's president. Rutherford B Hayes made a deal with the Southern
devil.
Democrat, basically the devil, the Southern Democrats, or just the Southern voting bloc in general, saying, if you back my run for president, I will officially end Reconstruction and I will withdraw any federal troops left. I think at that point we still had Florida and Louisiana under like super like occupation. So basically he goes,
Louisiana was one of the last states to be readmitted.
So he was basically like, just to sum it up, if you guys back my election, you can do whatever the fuck you want with people in the South. You can do a Jim Crow. No one gives a shit about that. And so what had happened was briefly right after the Civil War, during the early part of Reconstruction, you had black senators, black congressmen. The black vote was huge. It was like this huge dawning of a new era. It was a big thing. Of course, the fucking ex-Confederates hated that. So by the time you get to Rutherford B Hayes and he goes, fuck it, you no longer have the federal government backing up voting rights. Almost all of those like black senators, congressmen, mayors, any black person that held office lost office or were murdered by the I think it paused on me.
He's still like going, and we're the ones that are frozen.
Or like did we cut out when
Sorry, who did it freeze?
We lost you for about 30 seconds there, Peter.
All right, so sorry, let me just to repeat.
We were hearing about some black senators.
Sorry, we had all the black senators, black mayors, anybody that ran for office that was a person of color, and you had a lot of them.
There was Wilmington, North Carolina was one of the first municipalities in the South to elect a black mayor and a majority black city council. Shortly after Rutherford B Hayes basically said, yeah, you can do whatever you want. They were escorted out of office at gunpoint.
Yep.
Jesus.
And the black people were basically run out of town.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you
were
that
because that's critical race theory.
And you were told, don't you dare try to vote. So basically, all the gains we had made post Civil War, we wouldn't see those gains again until probably the 60s. And even then, we've set the groundwork. It's basically been embedded so hard that like we're still not seeing as many elected black officials in 2021 as we were seeing. I mean, I'd have to run the numbers, but like as you were seeing like after the Civil War. So the election, the compromise of 1877, and Rutherford B Hayes, this fucking sourpuss looking asshole behind me, you can thank him for a lot of the systemic white supremacist issues that we suffer from our country today.
Yeah.
It
just shows how one bad president can fuck people over for 100 years.
Well, and all the past was terrible. I would say fuck you, Rutherford B Hayes. I hope your beard is infected with lice for all eternity. And I hope you end up in the fucking like dimension of infinite itchiness.
Still not the worst president ever.
Right. That's the thing. Like there's so many like really bad presidents.
I would argue that Rutherford B Hayes was the beginning of it, but Woodrow Wilson really drove the fuck the darkies narrative.
I could do a whole
speaking of awful
B Hayes. I mean on Wilson.
Speaking of awful racist presidents, did you hear about what Trump's been up to this week?
No, is it fucking contemplating suicide? Because that would be the thing I'd love to hear.
That'd be
He's
wonderful.
Going on tour with Bill Cosby.
He is going on tour with Bill O'Reilly, so maybe Cosby will join them. But this week he decided to sue Twitter and Facebook for banning them.
He's a very good black friend. His name is William Cosby. I'm sure
he's tremendous.
Done nothing but great things.
A lot of you haven't heard of him. No one talked about him till I brought him up.
So he's gonna sue Twitter and Facebook for getting rid of him for violating their terms of service.
For violating the First Amendment and censoring him. He says that's what they did, and now he has his lawyers on it. And I mean, the case is dead in the water because hold on, one person pointed something out. Trump's lawsuit was filed in Florida, and Twitter's terms of service, which courts generally enforce, require that all disputes related to their terms of service should be brought solely to federal or state courts located in San Francisco. So he filed it in the wrong place to begin with.
Sounds
this is all just a
throw that out.
stunt.
And what his supporters will see, because like someone was bringing up some other stuff about how the courts generally side with the terms of service agreement. Here's the thing though, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to Trump and his baskets of deplorables, which fucking badass Hillary Clinton for saying that. Everyone's like,
we've used
oh,
that
that
term
was a really
forever.
bad move. I'm like, those people weren't voting for her to begin with, so why the fuck does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, and it was, but the independents, no one was undecided in that election. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
You would have to be functionally brain dead to have
You'd have
figured
to
out
come
The
out.
only people that said they were
but anyway, no. So someone pointed out, they're like, yeah, they're going to throw it out because his lawyers are going to botch it up, but he's going to frame it as, oh, these are the crooked courts coming after me and
So
throwing this
crooked.
out. We had a
So
solid
crooked.
case, but they just didn't want to hear it, and
They're very
all
unfair
this
to
stuff.
me and my friend Bill Cosby.
They're
Just
very
so
unfair to
unfair.
me and my friend Bill Cosby. Yes, my black friend, and then Candace Owens and Ben Carson are sitting there going, what? I'm your one black friend.
Somebody posted the other day.
Your one black friend.
Somebody posted a fucking Candace Owens meme, and it was like Candace being like Candace Owens and Cardi B, and they're like, young women need to look up to Candace Owens instead of Cardi B. And I was like, at least Cardi B didn't fucking sell out her own goddamn people for a fucking dollar. I'm like, this lady's a fucking hack.
I still love the fact that both Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens go so hard on Cardi B, and it's just one of those instances where like you're a model for young women and da 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 da, and somebody posted, it was just from the Natalie Portman SNL rap, and it's just her going, I never said I was a role model.
Yeah,
it's just sort of like, who the fuck? Who the fuck thinks Cardi B is a goddamn role model? Like,
don't even know. I know like the noise that she makes, but otherwise I don't know anything about her.
She's pretty cool.
Look up the video.
She's actually on board with the democratic socialism. So it's that sort of thing.
Listen. As a kid, I idolized Stone Cold Steve Austin, right?
Yes, me too.
But
hell yeah, brother! Austin 316 said, "I just kicked your ass."
But that he was never like.
Hell yeah, brother was not Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, I like how you're just mashing wrestlers now. No, but the thing about Stone Cold Steve Austin,
I'm gonna pump you up.
He's aware of Stone Cold Steve Austin and the noises that his mouth makes. Like,
the thing was, I never, as a kid, I loved Stone Cold, right? But I was never like, this man's a role model, and I want to be just like him. You know what I mean?
If
like,
you smell what Steve Austin's cooking.
So listen, I think I think you got to give kids a little bit more credit for who they choose as their role model too. You know what I mean? Like, I fucking never did steroids and ran around school being like, look at these 32-inch pythons, brother. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't atomic leg dropping people in high school
that we know about.
So let's get real quick to because we didn't do a Dear Wesley last time, and I feel bad because I feel like Wesley hasn't talked about the episode because we didn't do a Dear Wesley.
Ah, true. So we could do that and then smash out a That's Cute News and then wrap it up.
Yeah. So, Dear Wesley, my adult daughter is married. She also has a boyfriend. Both of these men live with her and share her bed. Her children are horrified by it and want nothing to do with their mother. They are embarrassed and ashamed, as I am. Her older children are of age, but still in school. They would like to move out, but can't afford to. The youngest is a minor and afraid of the boyfriend. My daughter's husband doesn't object to the share plan. Is there anything I can do to help the kids? Wesley, sincerely, Crowded Bed in Colorado.
She can, better explain to them that it's fine, that polyamory relationships are fine as long as everyone involved is like okay and consenting to it.
The thing that worries me is like that the kid feels uncomfortable with the boyfriend's presence. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you got to be careful bringing a strange man in around like your kids.
So you think that there might actually be something wrong with him and they're picking up on that, and that it's not just a it's gross what mommy's doing kind of thing.
Yeah, it could be, but either way, at any point, if you're like a single parent and you're dating somebody and your kid who's a minor goes, I'm not comfortable with this person in my space. I think you got to take that into account. I think the way it's written, it's a little bit more than just being about polyamory, although it is a little annoying that they're just like, I'm ashamed. Like, fuck you.
There's no real details there. I would like to know more about like what the kids are saying about him besides we're uncomfortable. We're uncomfortable is too vague. Like there's a lot of ways you can be uncomfortable with it. I'm uncomfortable with there being too many onions in a food that I'm eating. But that doesn't mean that the onions are touching me inappropriately.
Exactly. I was gonna say, but you're not gonna be sexually assaulted by the onions in your food.
Right.
Is the point you're trying to make. What would Wesley's advice be?
Wesley's advice would be, what you gotta do is maybe, put on a nicer dress. Maybe you can attract the boyfriend, and that way he'll go to you and he won't be over there in your daughter's bed.
Seduction. What you really got to do is you got to dress up like your daughter, right? And then lure him in. And then the last minute be like, you cheating fuck. I'm not your daughter. I will say this, and like, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about polyamory. I'm not personally polyamorous. I support you doing whatever you want with your life. But I will say some of the people I've met that are polyamorous are very much like some of the libertarians I've met, which they are insufferable people. They feel very clever about what they're doing, like it's new, and it just irritates me. Which is, then again, I mean, there are also a lot of like monogamous people that also irritate me. So I mean, it's not just the poly people.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I've ever met someone that was in a steady polyamorous relationship. Like that seems very rare. For the most part, it's so shunned by today's society because we're in a society of prudes. So it's really hard to. It's something that's slowly catching traction. People are talking about it more.
Yeah.
But I know one person who was like totally for polyamory until he had a chance to do it, and then he like quickly backed off and was like, "I'm not actually comfortable with this."
It's definitely not something everybody can handle. I think emotionally and mentally. Yeah. And I think a lot of people find that out.
I was invited into, I think they call them now polycules.
Oh, I call them thruples.
Polycules. Well, thruples is 3, but yeah, polycules is like more than 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there was it was 4 other people that I was dating at the same time. One of them I didn't really get along with, and it was just sort of like, you know, it is what it is. And then one of them got a job offer in California. I'd only been dating them for about 2 months at that point. Like the longest relationship in my life so far has been 6 months. Yeah, I was dating a straight guy. We didn't have sex. We never even kissed. We had each other's phone numbers. We hung out, we chilled, and we had beer. Like he made me food, I made him food. Like we were in between seeing anybody, and one night he was trying to pick up a bartender because he was just the best person in the world. And she's like, "Okay, everyone, you need to go because we're closing." And he was just like, "Oh, well." And then he like grabbed my shoulder and was just like, "Well, you better watch out because this is my boyfriend. He's super jealous." And then just copped to dating me in person for like 6 months, and that was the longest relationship of my life. Honestly, look, I didn't care who he was with and where he was going. He didn't care who I was with and where I was going. We could have different gender or same gender friends over. No one got jealous. Honestly, it was the healthiest relationship of my life.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I feel like a lot of straight people in monogamous marriages really could just do with like a loosening of the tie. And like, why don't y'all just experiment? Fucking try some, because it's always like this horrible stifled, just like, we got married at 19.
Trustful, I can tell you there are quite a few people out there who have tried this. It's yeah.
There's a lot we got married at 19.
Rush into relationships very young, and yeah, it's not great.
You know, and they'll be like, we got married at 19, we had kids at 19 and a half. We had our 8th kid by the time we were 20, and now we are 25, and I just feel like the romance is gone. Like,
yeah,
because you were children when you got married. Like,
people change so much in their 20s. Like you're a totally different person by the time you hit 30 than you were when you were 20 on the dot, or even 25.
I cannot imagine if I had made a marriage decision at like 18 or 19.
Imagine, oh God, who are you dating at 18 or 19? Who'd you be married to right now? Picture that person and then say, that's my wife right now.
No, don't like it.
You can picture it.
Yeah, I know. I can picture it. I'm not saying any names, but I will say that
I'm picturing someone actually from then, and she like collapsed the roof of a bathroom recently. So
no, not that.
Wow.
No, not that person. This person had two out of 2 brothers in jail.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's even worse.
I didn't really date in high school.
I tried. I couldn't. I was I dropped out at 17. So,
I mean, I like went to dances and stuff with people, but just a very few people at my high school were like coupling off, which was odd because it's a Catholic school in a very predominantly Catholic area. I know a lot of women now in college. I knew a lot of women who specifically went to college to get their MRS. Yeah.
Mm.
Speaking of dancing in school, the first girl I ever danced with in some school dance, like just so I'd be widowed now if I'd married her.
Well, it would have been it would have been on you to keep her off the stuff.
True.
Yeah.
But I'm picturing like the timelines can't alter except now we're married.
The best thing about getting old and thinking about people from high school was there's this guy, again, I'm trying not to name names, but that wild and new from middle school, who answered a question about birds. The teacher was like, "Why can birds fly?" And the kid was like, "Because their bones are hollow." What? And then like later on, that kid would go on to go to jail for like arms trafficking.
Yeah.
And like there, like a year ago, we were hanging out and we were talking about, and he goes, "Oh, that guy's out now. He served his 15-year sentence."
Yeah.
Wow.
We've now been alive for so long that
Yeah.
the people we went to high school with that are doing life sentences are now starting to get out again.
Yeah, they're getting paroled, you know.
It was one of my favorite. It was like the moment that I realized I was a smart ass was in high school. We were in honors biology, and we were talking about like genetics, you know, as you do. And one of the students in the back that we're all pretty sure should not have been in honors biology raised his hand and was like, "Mr. Marche?" She's like, "Yes, hon, what's up?" He goes, "So like that thing they did in Jurassic Park, like we could do that?" And she goes, "Well, no one's ever found dinosaur DNA like they did in the movie. That was the fiction part of the science fiction movie." But,
No, it
I mean,
wasn't.
yeah, presumably, yes, you could clone dinosaurs if you had their DNA. And he goes, "Oh," he goes, "Oh, well, why don't we?" And I just couldn't help
the rest of the movie.
It fell out of my mouth. I said, "Did you actually watch the movie?"
So many things I want to be like, we have found dinosaur DNA. No, you could not clone them. Like, fuck you, lady. That could not. We don't have the technology.
No, back whenever I was in high school, we had not discovered dinosaur DNA yet.
There was a yada yada they did in the movie where they're like, "Well, we use frog DNA to fill in the missing links." Like that's even more fictional than actually finding the DNA. Yeah. Like, because it's really hard to repair million-year-old damaged DNA or 60 million-year-old damaged DNA. Yeah, like that's way harder than actually just locating it.
Well, do you want to give us the that's cute news?
Yeah, so in that's cute news, so this is a funny thing where Jeff Bezos is about to maybe get $10 billion, and that's the good news, question mark. And while he's about to get all this money, you know, this is money that he's going to be getting from the government. Meanwhile, workers still can't even get $15 minimum wage. But so that's cute part. Workers.
I'm going to tell you how to get to space real quick. You take $10 billion, right?
It's not even the space news.
You take $10 billion. You go to the neediest countries with like some of like the neediest, hungry for education, like people, like kids, and you'd be like, "We're gonna fund you. You get us to space. I guarantee those motherfuckers will have us in space by 20 years. Bezos is not going to get us to fucking to space to stay in space."
So this is actually about a contract that the government was going to have with him over, God, what was this?
Well, and it's also I'm surprised that like while you know Bezos and Richard Branson are racing each other now to see who will be the first to get in space. It's basically just a dick measuring competition. Yeah. Why is Elon not in on that? That seems like something he'd totally be into. Like, I actually have a capsule that has gone to space. Why is he not just lining up his own launch to send just him and
is it because he's busy fighting, trying to steal that town in Texas for SpaceX?
Oh yeah, Brownsville.
Yeah, it's like he's fighting to like steal a whole town for his fucking space stuff, and people are like, "I live here."
Capitalism is so good at innovating. We've reinvented the company town.
Yeah.
We've come full circle. We're now back to robber barons. Only now instead of being like, you know, railroads, it's going to be rockets.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I found it. So I actually didn't write down what the contract was over. It's for a cloud infrastructure that the government was going to contract. They had like a bidding war for this construction contract, and Trump shut it down because he personally hates Jeff Bezos because they have beef. So Trump just gave the contract.
Yeah.
Trump just gave the contract to Microsoft and said, here you go, y'all can have it. But that contract, which was made in 2019, was just shut down this year when the government proved, oh yeah, Trump just to fuck over Bezos canceled the Bezos part of it and just gave it.
We found that out in yet another interview with Westerholt.
Yeah. So now the Microsoft one is canceled, but now it's going up for bidding between like them and Amazon. So now Bezos has a chance to get this $10 billion.
Yeah, I think it's Microsoft, Amazon, and I want to say Oracle is in the mix, but it's like those are the big companies that are doing most of the cloud storage stuff. There's a few VPNs that own their own server systems, like in Panama and stuff. But yeah, it's yeah, I think Surfshark is the one.
That's just really funny. It's
I'm still arguing that we need to pluck some little like plucky science kids out of like terrible poverty, and because it's always a story like that like makes the huge advancement, right? Like it's always some kid that's like, there I was eating dirt.
But this is sort of good news because it's just Trump being like petty and spiteful. One of the many damaging things he did to America during his presidency just sort of got undone this week. We fixed it. We fixed the glitch.
It's hard. Yeah. It would be like if you watch, by the way, if you keep up with the UFC, Conor McGregor just lost again. Fucking weak. He's got weak ankles. Apparently he broke his ankle stepping on it and lost the fight. But seeing Bezos and Trump fight would be like seeing Conor McGregor fight his own ego. You hate both of them. You know, you want them both to lose, but somebody's got to come out on top, right?
Yeah. No, but no, I had to explain to somebody the other day that you can't I have to explain. You have to explain it to some people sometimes, unless you actually own your own business. You are not a capitalist. You're just a fanboy. Like it's. You support capitalism because you don't realize exactly how much of your labor is being stolen by someone else. Like that's the only reason
not paying people enough for at capitalism. All. That's free money. Whenever they're not paying you enough, that's just free money that they get to line their own pockets with.
If you look at the rate of how efficient workers work now, like basically how much.
Yes, it's totally different than what it was when our parents were coming up.
How much our labor yields and how much we are getting paid for it. We are actually working harder, producing far more, and getting paid far less than the generation has ever existed.
I had it happen while I was at home. I was visiting with relatives, and someone was like, you know, I don't all this college loan forgiveness stuff. I put myself through college working summers, and I was like, oh my God, do you remember how much your wage was? And they told me what their wage was. I was like, and what year was that? Oh, 1979. Okay, and I put it into the inflation calculator. I was like, congratulations, you were making $28 an hour by today's standards.
Yeah,
that's and how you put yourself through college. Like it's people making $7.25 an hour, even $15 an hour, are not making nearly what you made whenever you were making, and you were making above minimum.
And he probably wasn't expected to do every single job in the store. Nowadays, if you work at a gas station, like you're stocking, you're working the register, you're cleaning,
I'm really hopeful that jack of all trades mentality, because that really feeds into worker-owned cooperatives. Everyone does all the jobs. We all own this store.
That's fine if I'm paid all the money.
I really want to start a chicken restaurant that's run by a cooperative labor, and we're going to call it Coops, because it's a chicken restaurant, so it's a chicken coop, but it's also co-op, C-O.
Nice.
I like
Coop.
it.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. Coops. I want to do that. I want to do that. Nobody wants to open this chicken restaurant with me, but I do. We're going to serve
like live chickens out back.
We're going to serve chicken meatloaf and chicken meatloaf sandwiches.
Nice.
It could be a vegetarian chicken restaurant, and there's like a live chicken coop out back that people can come and see. That way, there's chickens at the chicken restaurant. It's a chicken restaurant, but you just feed them like bread meatloaf.
No, it's just. It's behind glass in the middle of the dining room, and for an extra $15 you can pick the chicken you want us to slaughter, just like they used to do with lobsters.
Oh, nice. Yes. And then like it's in glass, so we kill it in front of you.
Exactly.
You get some like blood spray on the glass. Exactly. I think people should see where their food comes from.
I might just get blurry.
I love the Heart Attack restaurant in Las Vegas.
There it goes. It readjusted. Heart Attack restaurant?
Called Heart Attack Bar and Grill or something like that. And if you are over 500 pounds, you eat for free.
They're trying to encourage people to have heart attacks.
the people have died in this restaurant. Like, died of
I don't mean to laugh, but
well, anyway, if
I
you're
mean,
over
it's
100 pounds and they have
truthful
an
advertising at that
scale,
point.
they have an industrial scale on site to weigh people who want a free meal, and there is a vegan option on the menu. It is a pack of Camel Lights.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's just the most American thing that ever America. Like, bald eagles cry every time someone goes in there because they're just so damn proud. And but no, it's like called the Heart Attack Grill or something like that. Like, you have to sign a waiver if you are over, like, if you get the free food thing, like, you have to sign a waiver. If I die in this restaurant, the restaurant is not liable. I am taking my own health into my own hands.
Here's the problem. I would really hate to work there because after those people die and soil themselves, someone's got to mop that up.
Somebody's got to clean it up. Yeah.
After you drag their body out and roll them to the fucking ambulance, someone's got to clean up the piss and shit running down your leg when you died.
Yeah.
That would be rough.
I don't know, man. I
gotta catch a bus.
Gotcha.
Right,
so speaking of being about to shit, hit him with the socials. Pete?
Yeah, if you want to follow us, you can talk to Wilda there, who knows the socials, because I still haven't learned them.
I gotcha. So we have a very special offer. Stay tuned at the end of the socials. Okay, the socials are thosemuckrakers@gmail.com if you'd like to send us your own Dear Wesley, at thosemuckrakers on Twitter if you would like to message us. If you'd like to support us financially, you can buy Dust Belt Book 1 or 2. And coming 2023, Dust Belt 3 should be out. That'll be super exciting. And
your copy editor's back in grad school right now, so
I mean, eventually you're going to graduate, have time, and then you'll be back in grad school again, and it's still not read. So what can we do?
So we're going to PhD.
But can I do the special announcement?
Yes,
go for it.
We're trying to start a Discord because that's the thing that all the cool kids are doing. So how you join our Discord is send exactly one gold bar to Wesley, care of P.O. Box. No. It's not set up yet, but we would like to hear from you guys. I don't know how many people actually email us Dear Wesleys or email us at all, but like, if you want to talk with us, if we're that cool, or you're that cool and want to come talk to us, we're going to try to sort this out. Wilda and I are the only people on the Discord right now, and he has turned off all notifications.
As is tradition.
I'm not sure if Peter knows how to use Discord, but
you know what?
Probably not.
I feel like an old person. I'm like, I'm going to get on that Facebook one day.
You're on Facebook.
I'm going to tweet her some Twitters one day.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
Oh my God.
It'll be something. But yeah, if you'd like to send us your if you'd like to email us, we can give you Wesley's home address, and you can send him gold bars or bees, like either one, and we'll give you the link to the Discord.
If you want to tell us real world problems that we will come up with probably not workable solutions, we are your guys.
Tweet us a selfie of you with one of our Dust Belt books, like a physical copy in your hand. That's true. And we will give you the link to the Discord.
Also, if you want, you can send nudes to Wilda at projectice@hotmail.com, but only Wilda.
Project_ice at hotmail.com.
Project_ice. So
yeah.
And they don't even have to be nudes of you. They could be nudes of someone else.
You could catfish me. Who cares?
Yeah. All right, guys.
If they're nudes of you, write your name in Sharpie across your junk or right above it. Whatever's easier to wash off.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.